finish this thing. I hope that the wind is not going to be too annoying on with the microphone, because with the microphone up pinned on me, it might make for some bad sounds. So we got to make some decisions here, and that is where are the trees going? I hope that this can be seen. Looks like it can be seen. Let me see who's popped into the chat. Viola, welcome. We're just getting started here. I can't exactly see the chat while I'm painting, but what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to use this primary magenta. It is a fluid acrylics, and I'm going to use it to where I'm going to put a tree or two in here. I think I'm going to put 2 trees, but we're going to start first with one over here. And so if you can look at there is hints in here in the sky, like there might be a mountain back here. And if you go back a little bit in my schedule here, you'll see that I used a red underpainting, and I'm going to be using another red underpainting that's going to be coming in under the tree. And so we're just going to, all right, we're committing ourselves to here, and it's going to be coming this way, maybe like that, kind of here. Just some rough spots of where this tree is going. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit thicker so it's a trunk. So what I'm going to try to do here with this effect, I don't know if it's going to work, is that want to make it so that when I start adding like any brown tones or anything like that, other tones, that there's like this wraparound effect of light. So we have this sort of a redness of kind of a showing through. We have these tones showing through, and it doesn't have to be exact this way, because trees are not necessarily all that exact, and we're just kind of getting a sense that this is where it's at, and so forth. And so maybe I want to come and with this thing all the way up to the top, all the way around to the edge, a little bit like that, and kind of over here like that, and down here off on the edge, so it goes right off the screen. A second red underpainting, and underpainting underneath the foreground. This is essentially what we're doing. And this is just a bit more of a pronounced sort of an underpainting. I hope that you can see this okay. I hope it's not pixelated. If it's pixelated, I'm just going to turn the camera off, and we will start again at a later date. There we go. Just a trunk in there. All right. That's just the first tree. I'm going to probably put in something over here as well. I'm not sure. Let's see. Is anybody else here? Hello. Welcome. Oh, Vinod, I got into painting in like 2015. I started, I guess, 10 years ago. 10 years ago, like in the summertime is when I started painting. I actually, the way that worked was, I'm going to try to make some brown. To make brown, I'm going to use this yellow ochre, and I'm going to mix it I got some red on this brush. We mix it down with the red, and that'll help to bring out some more tones, and then we'll mix it with a little bit of what? Yellow ochre and brown. Let's see, what is brown? It's actually green. And so we'll put just a little bit of blue on the side. It's going to make it kind of grayish tones, but it's that yellow and blue make green and red make brown. So I'm just going to put a touch of blue in it. I think I might use this other blue. I'll use this fluid or acrylics. And so how it started me getting into painting in the first place is I was working on trying to make a different kind of a poetry manuscript. And I kind of moved in, so this is going to make it kind of a green tones, but we're going to be adding more red to it. And that red will, right now it's kind of green. It's kind of greeny. And then adding some more red to it will turn this into brown. I was working on a poetry manuscript, and how that happened is, which I never actually completed, and yeah, all right, and so I needed metallic colors because it was sort of a cross-out poem, a manuscript, kind of a thematically, you know, I wanted a certain theme, and I was just starting with paints, and pretty soon I went from working on that poetry manuscript to actually learning how to paint. And I had always wanted to paint, but I didn't know how to draw, or because every time I took drawing in like art classes, I failed drawing like, I don't know, several times. It was not really sketch work, and I still am really terrible with drawing and sketch work. And so we're just kind of putting this in here in exact. I'm going to probably darken this color up just a little bit. So we're adding layers. And that's kind of how I got into painting. I was trying to do something else, and then it just sort of evolved into this. And then doing painting on his YouTube content forces you to always be working on your skills and improving your skills, and that's how that works. Because, you know, it's all about practice. Yeah, so this is going to be kind of interesting, using that red underpainting under the tree. But I need to get it to define against the background just a little bit more. So I'm going to add a little bit of black on the side. I don't really need to use too much black, but we've got a little bit of black going on here. I'm just going to darken it up a little bit more. I probably need a hair dryer to really go faster, so we're going to be limited to just the drying time in order to how much of this painting I can actually do today, or just right now. Anyways, just kind of put some other colors in here. And yeah, that's what we're doing here. Like I said, I can't see the chat because the camera is behind me, but I will be occasionally looking in on what all y'all are out there saying. While I'm doing that, it's also, I'm allowing the layers to dry a bit. So right now, what you really are looking at is I'm blocking in the colors for the tree. And just sort of the shapes, and it's, it's inexact, and the inexactness is perfect. Because it's all about layers. What makes paintings really better is adding multiple layers of color. And that's the layers of color. Now the problem I'm having here is that the background is not very muted, and so we're going to have to really work on the colors to get the foreground to pop out of the background. So if you look at something in nature, you can see that the object that you're looking at does pop out of the background. I think that red underpainting on there will be working out. I may need to move to a smaller brush here. Let me just see what's going on in the chat, if there is anything going on. Bob Ross taught you how to paint, yeah? Happy accidents, man. Happy accidents. I got that. Use blood for red. I did that once. Back when I started painting, I did it. I don't still have it, but I just cut myself by accident, and then I added that in there for effect. It was there. I used it. I might actually want to come in and add in some onto my palette, just a little bit of primary yellow. I don't want to use too much paint because I'm not going to be using very much paint, so I'm just going to add that in here. Happy accents. Happy trees. Nothing like a happy tree. But you know what, this is just a practice painting, and so it doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing. We're practicing just to see if it will work. And when you're doing a practice painting, it really takes the load off. It takes the pressures off what you're doing. And so you may have some grand plan for what you want your painting to look like. And when you go about doing it, many times it just doesn't turn out the way you want it. So a lot of what painting is balancing expectations against reality, because there's always a big giant gulf between those two realities. I just want this to stand out a little bit. Now, my preference, of course, is to paint on paper and not on canvases. But these canvases were donated to me by one of my childhood friends. So I'll be doing quite a few paintings that we'll be using. So I guess what we're looking at here is that the sun is behind you. The sun is pointing that way, and so it's reflecting off this thing. Yeah. Most of the times I paint sitting down, but this is nice, actually. Trying to get some shadows in there, or whatever, a darker layer down. And we'll come back in and do a lighter layer on top of that, just to lighten things up a bit, put some sparklers in there. Bob Ross talk, huh? And there was old Hershey the Shadow Reader. Just want to get this in. I need to let it dry here because I'm pushing up on too many layers here. Or when you are in painting with acrylics, you can only push so many layers onto the canvas before everything turns to mud. And once it turns to mud, you just gotta like sit back and let it dry. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sit back here for just a bit. I'm gonna turn the camera around. Let's see what we got here. So I'm just letting it dry for a bit. Clea, welcome. Miss Rose, welcome. You're cozy, welcome. So we're just gonna let it dry for a second. It's really windy. I hope you can hear me. There's always problems with audio when you're live streaming just outside of the Wi-Fi field. Always problems with that. Nothing's perfect here. And also what we're doing is I'm just kind of looking at the painting, trying to figure out where to go here and see if it's standing out and doing other things. And so in the end, it'll be just highlights, putting some highlights on there. I kind of envision that I want to put some branches that are just going into that field of vision from there, but I'm just going to let it ruminate here. In 2015. I started painting in 2015, and yeah. The summer of 2015. That's the second person who's asked me that today in this stream in the last 20 minutes. All right, we're going to turn the camera back around. I'm going to go back in and do some more. Okay. I think we're going to go back in and do that whole thing. I don't think I do like the red undertones in here. It's still pretty wet. So we'll just move to a different part of the painting and get some, I'll just get another brush out here. I got a lot of brushes here. I want to do the second object. I just kind of want it to come in from the side. I'm coming back to these fluid acrylics, and we're starting, this is a primary magenta, and I always want to kind of have a branch. So I'm kind of looking at a tree right in front of me. A branch that's just coming in from the side, kind of maybe like that. I'm using red because I'm trying to make this, in some sense, to have a little bit more brilliance to it. And it may not be realistic colors, but that's okay, because we are just coming right out of imagination land, and it is very important to use your imaginations here. So we're putting this, maybe we have another branch coming in down here. This is coming right into the scene. There. Kind of like that, and out here like that. There we go. It's just kind of there. Maybe it just comes up here, and it's just going to go out to up there and out into there. So the trunk is kind of on the side, and it was just sort of a hint of it here and there. Just a little bit more in here. I'm going to darken it up. Try to get it to some smaller branches. Happy branches. Happy tree. It's very important to have your happy trees. Okay, that's all I'm going to use with that. And then we'll just go back in and coming in with this shade of sort of a brownish tone that I created out of yellow ochre and blue and a touch of black and red. Just making your own brown. Brown, flush it on down. Just kind of blend it in. But we're going to be wanting to get a finer detailed brush to do better, more spindly branches. And now we're not really going for realism, but you know, you want to have something that looks vaguely real, kind of real. Yeah, that is kind of mystery, how you kind of start doing things. And the intention from when I started and all of that all became different as I moved along, because I started out with a clear plan, and now I'm here. I wasn't planning on starting to paint because I was told in art class a long time ago that unless you can draw, you can't learn how to paint unless you can first draw. Oh, 20 years? No. But what I did, what I can say about it is that when I was, the 5th grade, I started doing photography when I was in the 5th grade. And then I started writing poetry, like when I was just out of high school. And I put my 10,000 hours of, I put 10,000 hours of time into really learning how to write, to lay a line down on the page. I've done, have had academic study of writing, and so I really learned how to write and how to write poetry. And so I had, before I even picked up the paintbrush, I had, 20 years of experience writing poetry. And then I did, then there's also 20 plus, over 20 years of experience behind a camera and taking pictures and framing things up. And so yes, it's all cumulative, you do these activities in your life, and they all accumulate together, and then it makes it easier each time you if you master one art form, it's easier to pick up other things. And so that's what I've learned in my life, that you can do that. But if you put too many irons in the fire at first, you oftentimes will get nowhere at all. That's I think that's reality. All right, I'm going to turn the camera back around, do a little bit more painting. Yeah, welcome, AD. Yeah, I started painting, and I was actually started selling my work within 2 years of starting painting. Yeah, I sold a little bit. It was still hard. I still had to work at it. I'm still working at it now. But that's just the nature of it. You do work at things. You'll study, you learn. I do sometimes try to do drawing. I try and do drawing. I still find, like drawing to be extremely boring. I think it's just the mono-ness of, it's that, just the one color. But I guess you have to look at it, maybe I have to look at it differently and look at it as more like a challenge. Be challenged by seeing what you can do with like just a charcoal pencil or graphite. And I'll be doing that a little bit more on this channel. Well, what it shows you is, if you're still watching AD, is that how, with a bit of dedication, you can move really fast. I do like this red underpainting. I do need it, and I need a finer brush too. I don't think I have one with me. Oh, I got this one here. Go down to a thinner brush. Coming over here, we're going to add some more darker tones in it. Just a lot of different colors. If you look out at a tree or something in nature, you just spend some time looking at it, you'll see lots of different colors in that too. But in the process of learning painting, the most important thing, so you just described, okay, painting is not the only thing I do on this channel. I do talk. This is a variety show. I do talk. There's a lot of, if you go down and look at my live stream list, you will see a lot of interviews and other things and happy little trees. Hard Life Survivor, Ghibli, or Quibbly, welcome. Welcome. Killboy Boys, welcome. Yeah, so if one of the most important lessons to learn if you are new to any art, anything at all, is you got to balance expectation against reality, because what's in your mind is always going to be different than what you put down and try to build into the world. So you grew up on Bob Ross. Yeah, well, Bob Ross, when you see a painting that Bob Ross did on The Joy of Painting, that was the third one that he did. He did that same image 3 times. Of course, that's according to what I think his family said and other people said on some of those documentaries. And Bob Ross, yeah, so he did 3 paintings, and so he got quite a bit of practice. I'm going to turn the camera back around and do some more work. I'm just kind of doing this slowly because you can only, yeah. They came together from the first to the last, exactly. But you don't get to see any of his mistakes. I think that his family has in their possession his mistakes, or, I'll put this in here because it's just some black on there, and then we will add, and it won't be on this draft. Really, to do this, I'm going to need, I would actually, even though it's like a warm day out here, I would still, to do this in this part in one setting, I would still need a hair dryer to speed the process up, because just the nature of acrylics. I don't have any green, so I got to make some green here, and then I have to make another. The other decision I need to make is what color are my leaves going to be? Are they going to be like yellow, or are they going to be green? Maybe they'll have more black tones in them. So I don't really have any green. I can make the green, and So we start in making little lines like this. And this is not necessarily the right kind of brush to do this, but you know, if you get back a ways, we're looking at like the hints of this. Hinting at things. I'm going to go with not actually putting green in. I'm going to put in yellow. I'll put that yellow ochre in. And black. But that, so maybe it's more like a, well, if I go with these things, I'm going to say that it's more like a fall term, fallish kind of a thing. And maybe over here, there's just a few kind of a sense of the of that. I'm not exactly too happy with just how thick these branches are. It does bother me, but I know this is a practice painting, so we're just going to go with it. We're flowing with it, and that's just the way it is. My preference, of course, would be to paint on paper, paint in a different scenario altogether, because you have better control over your line work and everything else when you are painting on paper versus on canvases. See, do I got any blue? Yeah, I got blue. I can, let me put some darker colors in. I think I'm going to leave some of these branches completely bare because we are in the fall. Definitely fall type colors. There we go. All right. I'm going to put in some of this up over here. I might want to, I think I'm using ultramarine blue for over here. I'm going to just put a little bit of blue on the palette to mix in to make blue green. I don't really want to I don't want to waste too much paint here. And there's we are mixing right on the palette too, or on the canvas, and that's the beauty of doing layers. And then another challenge that you can always do for yourself is to try to change those colors optically. And when you go and try to change the colors on the canvas optically, you can get at having greater depth. That's something that you as a technique. It's more advanced painting techniques. Welcome, Mama Sushi. Yeah, letting go of expectations as you go. Absolutely. Yeah, because you have a clear and definite winds are blowing like at like 15, 20 miles an hour here. Probably like, and hopefully my easel doesn't blow over. But yeah, if you have to let go, AD, you have to absolutely let go of your expectations. And then if you want to like, because that's the only way. Because then if you have too many expectations, you're too hard on yourself, and the next thing you know is you quit. You run the danger of quitting before you even get good at it, before you even get mediocre. Because that's one of the things I learned, because it took me like 20 years of writing poetry to 20 years of writing poetry to become mediocre at it. So that, and what I mean by that is that with every time that you would just like do a free write, and where you could, on the first draft, have a mediocre poem that you just whipped right out like that. And that took 20 years of writing upwards of 10 hours a week. You know, in addition to, because when I lived up in Seattle, I did, I hosted a writers group, a critique group, but I went to 2.5 open mics. Essentially, one week I did 2, the other week I did 3. So I did a lot of spoken word performing, I did a lot of spoken word performing. Poetry slams. I never won a slam because my style was a bit too different. But going to open mics and performing poetry every single week, going out performing poetry every single week, and you know, one week it was twice, the next week it was 3 times, back and forth, different events, different places around town. Sometimes I would go up as far away as Everett, Washington, and that was like during the summer months when we got a lot of daylight. I would go up to Everett, Washington every week, and to different open mics, and just did a lot of writing, and then after a while, about 2010, and I had started writing poetry in like 86 or 87. By 2010, I got to a point where everything that I wrote was mediocre, or for the most part. There was some stuff that was pretty terrible, but that's fine. But that's just the way it is. You keep writing and writing. Eventually, everything you do gets to be okay, acceptable. It's not spectacular, but you can then craft something into being more spectacular. Now with painting, it's the same damn thing. You have to keep practicing, and eventually, let me just move the camera up a bit here, change the angle so you can get a little different point of view. Eventually, what's going on the backside? Okay, that's the, oh, there we go. Eventually, this thing's falling down. Let's go a little closer in here. Eventually, and that's the faith that I hold on to, is that eventually I'm going to get better at it. Just keep working away. Keep working away. There we go. We are building. Kind of obscuring these limbs in with this stuff here. It's not exact, but it's good enough. Good enough. It's good enough. And it is just a practice painting. Practice painting. Come in with a little bit of this blue. Do I have any of this blue left? Yeah. We're not putting shadows in. This is a two-dimensional painting. Bum ba-dum bum 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 bum. There we go. Happy, happy trees. Happy, happy trees blowing in the wind. Happy, happy trees. Happy, happy trees blowing in the wind. Happy, 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 happy trees. There we go. All right, we could probably say it's almost done. Happy, happy trees. Happy, 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 happy trees. Is it hot over where you're at, Mama Sushi? Feels like it's like just like 80 degrees here today. I think that red under the tree works really well. I think it works good. I'm really pleased by that. The red underpainting all the way. But we're going to try, the next one we're going to do is it has sort of a greenish underpainting. And then we'll put, maybe, I think I'm going to try for the same similar image. Let's see, we put a little bit of yellow on top of that black. Maybe we get it to stand out a little bit more. Sparklers on the front. A little bit of light. Maybe I can start my Tools of Fortune live at 10 o'clock. I really want to do that. Get done earlier. And then I got a new device coming this week, because the battery life on this device ends at about I can maybe go 3 hours, do a 3-hour live stream before it starts to collapse and battery run out. And I like that. Let's go take a look at it again. Oh, I might be done here for the day. So you're 79 degrees now? Okay. Yeah. It is cooler. Wind's blowing pretty good. It's not bad looking, actually. One of the things I have that's coming is a first-person POV rig. So, and I hope, I mean, the measurements turned out that it should work. Yeah, I think this is almost done, Mama Sushi. And I'll do some other finishing work on it later. But actually, if I come back and I look at it from afar, it does have a, I think I really want, it's standing out from the surface. Now this is the biggest problem here, is that it doesn't stand too far out of the surface. And so I need to add, I want to add just a little bit more dark here. Well, this is kind of interesting. So it makes it, and then some more layers, this, looking at it, and then coming back in with, this is really stretched here. I can't make a straight line like this, but you know what? It makes it more barky, like that. And then we'll let it dry up a bit. Come in with some more of this yellow here to, it's now turning into mud. I can't do any more of this. That's where we're at. It needs to dry for a day. That's what it's gonna do. It's gonna dry for a day, and then I can come back at it. So we don't get the whole after today. Let's see, I need to turn the camera around a little bit. Come over here. So yeah. That's it for the day for the most part. Yeah. It's gonna dry for a day, and then I can come back and do some more layers on it. But what I will do then is that tomorrow I'll be back to do some more layers on it tomorrow. And let's see. I was like trying to turn some settings off to see if this is my left hand. This is my right hand. Okay. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll see if we can finish this painting, but we're going to start another one too. So we will do a few layers on this, and I'll put it aside, and then I'll start on the next painting. And so we'll do a little bit longer painting session tomorrow. Maybe I'll start earlier in the day because maybe I'll be more well rested and start earlier in the day. And then and hopefully tonight I can start my Tools of Fortune live at 10 o'clock and roll that out till 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, all right, that's all I got. Thank you guys. Thank you very much for all your support, for the 14 likes. And Mama Sushi, when you're ready, we're going to do that paint off. And I think I'm getting Lucky Stone 888. Welcome. I'm just at the end. I'm at the end of the painting. I'm at the end of the I can show you it for another time here. I'm This is what we worked on today. And I'm just going to bring it in there a little bit closer. And I'm going to do some more layers on it tomorrow and start a new painting tomorrow. But on the weekend, I got Lucky Stone 888, and we're going to talk about something on Saturday, probably in the evening, after I get home from my volunteer job. I'm doing very well. I'm doing very well, but I'm at the end of my live stream for today. And we're going to finish this painting tomorrow and start a brand new painting as well. Thank you, Bella. Theywelcome. I am from Oregon. This here is my backyard. These are the foothills of the coastal mountains. These are all, and this is at the edge of the Yamhill Valley. This is the western edge of the Yamhill Valley. That, over that way a ways, is the Yamhill River. And we are in the foothills of the coastal mountains. And, oh, you're from Turkey. I see. What you're looking at is the western United States at the 45th parallel. Western United States at the 45th parallel. Yeah, so I'm exactly 45 degrees from the equator to the North Pole, 45 degrees. You're Istanbul. You know what I have a friend of mine a long time ago gave me a rock that he got from Istanbul, and it's one of my totems, one of my very special items that I keep on my craft table and my workspace. It's like a prayer stone or something like that. I use it for that, from Istanbul. There's a bird on that little bush there, a bluebird. Kind of just looking in. There he goes. I think they're like juncos or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, thank you everybody for tuning in. And I'll be back tomorrow with something new. Bye-bye.